Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner Since 96, and you are watching a looking ahead to. No, it's not really a looking ahead to, really, is it? It's an amalgamation of looking ahead to our next fixture, as well as a post or pre-match build-up, because obviously tomorrow's game is super duper early. I'm not going to be able to release a video before the game, so today I'm combining the two into one. We're going to be looking at Mikel Arteta's press conference. We're also going to be looking at the predicted team lineup, how both teams go into this, the type of mindset, the forms of both teams, and what we need to do to try and beat Southampton so that we get through to the fifth round. Okay, before I start, if I could just ask you all to please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. Once again, thank you very much for all the support. Really appreciate it. We're growing every single day, and yeah, I'm hoping that you guys continue to enjoy all the content that I release. So let's get started. We're talking about the press conference that Arteta had a day ago. So this might be old news to you guys, but it's very relevant to the game coming up. A bunch of questions asked. It was quite a long press conference, about 19 minutes long, so plenty of information given out. I have selected the most relevant things to talk about, so we'll start off with the team lineup. Arteta was asked, what type of lineup will you be going for? Of course, this being the FA Cup, the trophy that you guys are defending. Is it going to be a really strong lineup? And he basically said, yes, we're going to play our strongest possible team lineup on Saturday. Having said that, we're going to be playing them twice in the space of 3 days, so it's a little bit of a strange one. So I get the impression that he will play a mixed bag. There will be some senior players in there. There will be some players that haven't been given the opportunity to play as well. And I imagine Southampton will do the same as well. And because the teams are playing each other in the space of 3 days, in two different competitions at the same place, it's almost like the Liverpool one in the Carabao Cup, really. It's going to be strange. And, you know, Southampton being a sort of mid-table, well, top to mid-table side, I don't know how they'll approach the FA Cup, whether they'll want to focus their attentions more on the league or whether they'll want to go for a cup run. I imagine they will want to go for a cup run. They're an established Premier League side, and they'll want to go as far as possible, and they'll want an opportunity to win a trophy. So, yeah. Look, I think Arsenal will go for a strongish lineup, and I'll go through the predicted team lineup after I talk through Arteta's press conference. But the impression that I get is that we will see some strong names on there, but the strongest names will be saved for Tuesday's trip to St Mary's. Now, he was asked a question about the transfer window. He made a few comments about the transfer window throughout the press conference. Started off by saying that we are on the process of bringing in players after we've done the first half of offsetting players. I'm really happy to say that we've made our first signing. Matt Ryan has come to Arsenal on loan from Brighton on a short-term loan until the end of the season. He will be our backup goalkeeper. That's massive news. I will be releasing a video with all the incomings. I imagine there will be one more player coming in. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, that would be really exciting. So plenty more information to come on that in the next few days. But yeah, it's great to see Arsenal have been doing the business. They've been doing it really well. They had a clear plan from the offset, and they've executed the first bit, and they've done it so well. It's so unlike Arsenal to do things right. You know, you expect them to do one thing, and I think everybody expected them, or everybody at least had the desire for Arsenal to use this window to bring some players in, but the most important one was to clear out the dead wood, and they've done that really well. You can't complain about the type of the outgoings that have happened, the way that Edu and Arteta have approached this. They've done it really well. And, they really disciplined in the way they did it as well. Get rid of the players first before you bring them in. Did that early on, and now is the opportunity to bring them in. And again, it's only been a couple of days since Socrates has moved, and already we've made our first signing. So it's great. He goes on to say that we couldn't carry on with 31 men in the squad. It's unmanageable. One of the main objectives was to offset players. The important thing for me is that everyone feels a place, feels like they've got a place and a chance to play. Again, really, really important for me. Everything that you just said, it makes sense to have so many players in the squad, unmanageable, and you're unable to please everyone as well. And when that happens, you get, circles that form, people against the manager, unhappy players, and it can get toxic. And it did get toxic. We did have that circle of players. You had Kolasinac, Ozil, Mustafi, that sort of clique there. You had Saliba as well with the French boys, that sort of clique there. And now that we've sort of gotten rid of the unhappy players, the players that weren't really benefiting the system, we can see already that the team looks more closer and everybody looks like they're on the same page, and it resonates on the performance that they put out there on the pitch. So that's great. It's great for me. It shows me that Arteta knows what he's doing as a manager as well. He knows how to deal with the situation. So I'm really, really pleased with that. In particular, one of the players that he spoke about was Cedric Suarez. And one of the reporters asked about Suarez challenging on Bellerin's position after playing so well against Newcastle, and Arteta went on to say took him some time to adapt and to be fit from injury. He now has the chance to play. He's been ready to play when we wanted him, and he's been a great professional in dealing with not being picked to play. He has to stay fit to play more. Moral of the story is basically that, look, when he came in, he wasn't fit, he wasn't ready to play regular football, and now that he's fully fit, now that he is able to play, we want to play him more. And, I said this before, but you almost forget that Suarez came from a Premier League side in which he was playing football week in, week out, a decent footballer as well. And he showed against Newcastle again what he's capable of, and it's just really great to have someone there who knows that he's not going to be playing first team football week in, week out, but is ready to be a backup and to be the best possible backup. And I wish we could find someone on the left. And again, another question was asked about the left back situation, and the left back situation is pretty dire at the minute because Kolasinac has left. It has left us pretty naked in that position with we've come up short for backups, but it seemed as if from what Arteta said in the press conference when he highlighted that we still have options in Ainsley, Bukayo and Cedric. I don't know whether we'll be able to get a backup in that position, and if it is, it will be a short-term loan deal most probably. It's worrying because if Tierney gets injured and you play someone in that position which isn't their strongest position, you're not going to get the strongest performance from them. We saw that with Ainsley. We saw how much he struggled, and it will be such a shame if Arsenal don't address this situation. After the goalkeeping situation, for me, the most important backup role to fill in would have been that left back position, because it's such a vital position for us, especially the system of football that we play with our wingers running down the flank to overlap the wingers, get the ball in the box. They play both a defensive and an attacking role, and especially in modern day football where the wing backs play such a pivotal role, almost the most important role in developing attacking plays and attacking movements. We are looking quite fragile if Tierney gets injured. He's prone to injury. I mean, he's not prone to injury. He's the type of player that can pick up niggles, here, there, and anywhere, especially with the amount of football that he's playing as well. So I'm hoping that Arteta has a plan in place to be able to get someone who can play there as a backup. Do I really want to see Saka there when I know what he is capable of doing up front? Not really. So, and I feel like Saka, that option of playing Saka there will be the strongest one if Tierney is unavailable. which will weaken us going forward. But anyway, we yet to see any of that. Another key question that was asked, something that fans have been asking for a very long time, is the question about Balogun. What's happening with Balogun? Is he leaving the club? Why hasn't he basically featured, especially in the FA Cup, which I was really surprised to not see him even on the bench. And Arteta says, on his contractual situation, I just want to convince him to stay at the club. He's showing real desire and hunger to stay at the club through training. We have to go step by step. He's made some big steps in training with us, and then playing a few games for us. He hasn't been playing because of the competition and giving others the minutes they haven't been given. Eddie hasn't been playing recently, and he's in front of him, so we have to be calm and respectful. So it seems to me that there is a system in place at Arsenal where, like a sort of a hierarchical system, where Eddie's been playing more senior football, therefore we need to prioritise him, despite Balogun showing the signs of him being the better player. And that's really strange for me. It's strange because it seems as if they don't want to lose both players. They want to keep Eddie and they want to keep Balogun, but they need to sort of work out a system to make both players happy. And we know that's not going to happen. You can't make both players happy because you can't have both players playing as a third striker or even a second striker. You've got Lacazette that takes that primary role, and then after him, it's Nketiah, and then after him is Balogun. I don't think Balogun is quite happy to be playing as a third striker, third option. And I'm not happy with that either, because for someone who's shown the signs that he can score goals and he can be a handful, and he is what Arsenal really need right now up there. Nketiah himself is almost better played as a second striker with someone in like a 4-4-2 formation. So if he plays alongside Laka, great. If he plays alongside Aubameyang, great. As a striker playing just behind, just off the main striker. But as a lone striker, I don't think he's good enough. And so, it's worrying because I do see Balogun leaving. I do see the rumours about him being unhappy truthful. And if we lose him to a better club, not a better club, but if we lose him to someone else where he performs better, and we see a repeat of Serge Gnabry or Rene Adelaide or someone of that calibre, then it's going to be really difficult to swallow that kind of pill. So I'm hoping that Balogun is still given his chance on the weekend. I really do hope that he starts on the weekend, or at least appears on the bench. That would be a real statement of intent from the club to say that, look, we want to keep him, or we want him to play as many games as possible. But to some extent, I do have some sympathy for Arteta. I understand how difficult it is. You have got two promising strikers with Nketiah, so young, coming up the ranks. He's broken records at international level, and he's done well on loan as well. So I understand the difficulty in pushing him out when you have a player there that has the potential to play well in the right system. And then have another young striker as well coming up the ranks, scoring 2 goals in 60 minutes. In the 60 minutes of football that he's played in the Europa League, in European competition, I mean, come on, you can't really ignore that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, the most interesting comment that he made was the comment he made on the mole, the leaking information that's been happening lately. The question was asked, were you able to find out who's been leaking the information? And Arteta, with a really sort of grim smile on his face, really, I don't know. It was a weird sort of look where he commented, "I sort of have an idea of who it is," and it almost, I don't know whether it was sort of a message to the boys in the background that, look, you can't get away with this type of foolishness, with this type of disrespectful act. We will catch you out, so don't try it. And then when asked, has the player left, or are any of the players involved players that are not in the squad at the minute, he said no comment on whether the player's left the club or not. And then the press conference ends there. So really interesting, but it shows me that he's got a backbone. It shows me that he's cool, composed. He is someone who can handle being in that type of environment. And I respect that a lot about him. And a lot of managers might have, and we've seen it in the past, when you lose the dressing room, that's it really, you're out of the door. But him, it seems that when he has lost parts of the dressing room, he has been able to maintain his composure and still get things under grips, get things under control. It reminds me of the time when Sarri was at Chelsea, and despite doing a really good job, the players ultimately drove him out, and he was partially to blame for it because of the way that he handled the situation and handled, the way that he came across with players and whatnot. So at least we can say that we have a manager on our hands who has the ability to keep everybody under control. That's great. So moving on from the press conference, we are talking about the predicted lineup. Who do I think will start in this game? Well, I think we'll play a 4-2-3-1 as we have been for the majority of the season. I really do hope that Ryan starts on the bench. I really, really, really hope that he does start on the bench because, for starters, he's registered. So he can play. We have signed him just in time so that he can play in the FA Cup. And he is Premier League proven. He's played plenty of games. He's fit and he's ready. I think Leno needs to be given a rest, especially if we're going to be playing them after 2 days as well. So I'm hoping that Ryan starts in goal on his debut. I think we will play at the back. I think Gabriel will start. I'm positive. I'm confident that he will start, having not started in the last few games. Gabriel will start alongside Callum Chambers, I hope. I really, 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 really hope. And that gives Holding and Louise to then play in the Premier League. On the left, other than Tierney, I don't see anyone else playing. Maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles will be playing there. I hope he does. I don't think Tierney needs to be playing in this game when we need to play them in 2 days in the Premier League. So I will say that. In fact, I think that Cedric will start on the left, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles will start on the right, or Bellerin will start on the right and Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the left. One over the other. It's difficult for me to go for a team lineup that I'm sure Arsenal will go for, because there's so many options that they can go for. But that's my back four sort of lineup. And then in the middle, I'll go for Mohamed El-Neni and Ceballos. And then Xhaka and Partey will be saved for the Premier League. As a number 10 role, I think I don't want Emil Smith-Rowe to start. So I think Willock will play in that position. I do. I think Willock will play in that position, or Willian. It'll be Willock or Willian. And actually my head tells me that it's going to be Willian that plays in that number 10 role. On the right, we'll have Pepe. On the left, we'll probably have Aubameyang. And in the middle will be Nketiah. That's what I think Arsenal will go for. It is a fairly strong side. I mean, ultimately, it's our B team. But our B team are quite good as well, because they've had a fair amount of games in the Premier League. So I'm confident that we will be starting against Southampton with a relatively strong team. We're going into this game with some great momentum. We're undefeated in the last 5. Ever since the Chelsea game, in fact. And last time we played Southampton, obviously we're down to 10 men. We played the game with 10 men and we managed to get a point out of it. Difficult to say what type of starting lineup they will go for. I imagine it will be quite strong. And how to approach that game? Well, look, we know that Southampton are going to be playing a possession-based game where it will be slow build up from the back. Nice, neat, tidy football being played, and in order to stop them from getting into their rhythm and to stop them from progressing up the pitch, I think we need to be smart in pressing them, but not pressing them too high up the field so that the balls don't go over the top, because that's what Southampton have been doing really, really well. And I think they have been dragging their opposition into their half. They've been playing really intelligent football, because when you're playing possession-based football, calm, slow, neat, tidy from the back, you're inviting your opposition to come and, you know, press you quite early on and quite high, and that gives them the ability to ping the balls over the top for Ings, for Adams, for Walcott. They've got plenty of pace there, so we need to be intelligent, we need to be calm. I think it's important to make sure that we press them as soon as they get into the middle. As soon as they get into the middle of the pitch where they are getting into our half, we need to be really quick to react, get the ball off them, and then be able to counter-attack. So it's going to be a game where we're going to have to be quite patient, but ultimately we do have the quality to beat them. And so I'm going to leave it there. It's an early kickoff tomorrow, so after the game I'll be releasing my post-match reaction. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, please stay safe, stay home, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.